Could you imagine a world where the referee speaks to the whole stadium through a microphone, and with the VAR, you can hear every decision they're making through their voice? You can hear their thought process, you can hear their communication with the match officials, as well as see exactly what they are doing on their screen. And also, what about if play stops, the actual clock on the whole game just pauses until the game resumes? That would be a fantasy world for football, but this is known as a sport called rugby, a game where 15 players play against each other trying to score what is known as a try at the other end of the pitch. Now, in all seriousness, football needs to take some massive lessons out of rugby. I like rugby, and I was watching the Six Nations yesterday, and I was just thinking, all these rules we could implement into football and make the fan experience so much better, we clearly choose to ignore. And it's not like we're ignorant of rugby. Everyone knows rugby exists. People watch rugby. Why it can't be carried over, I am not sure at all. It saves so much time, pain, arguments, anger, but we choose to ignore it. And I can't think of any other excuse than it's complete corruption. It allows corruption to happen, and if we don't know exactly what's going on, then we won't know. And the same on the clock thing. Sometimes extra time decisions are incredible. There could have been a 20-minute break in the game and you get 5 minutes of extra time, or vice versa. I seriously think the way forward with VAR is to do it as how rugby do it. When something's happened, when it's reviewed, it goes to the TMO system. In that office, you can see the guy running through everything on the screen, speaking out loud, speaking between him and the referee. And once a final verdict is made, the referee will announce this to a whole stadium and why they've chosen their decision. Miking up the refs just for in-game transparency, it also helps so much more. You'll be able to hear all the communication between the players and the ref. That stops corruption. That also stops players hating on the ref, and it stops further criticism of referees saying that they have a bias or they're corrupt, and really they're just giving you their thought process. Also, it becomes way more interactive for the fans watching at the game because they've got that PL match center thing, but who actually checks Twitter midway through a game? No one, and they barely show it on the board. But instead, we get some silent people in a VAR room. We don't even get to see the lines draw anymore for offsides, and we get some rubbish excuse. And they've implemented Ref Watch, where a Dermot guy just tends to agree with all the referees most of the time to protect pgmol, and it will also prevent miscommunication between all the match officials together. Now, like I said at the beginning, the reason we don't implement it is probably because of corruption. It allows the league to be corrupt. It allows all leagues to be corrupt. But for me, it's the complete right way forward. No bias. And also the thing with the match pausing. Why don't we do that? It makes no sense why we would not pause the match until play resumes again. It's purely so that people can control the amount of minutes that get added on. It makes complete sense. And honestly, if you've never watched a game of rugby, I urge you to watch one just to see how the whole process works, because it's so clean, it's so effective, it's so simple. The players never argue, the fans never get upset. It just makes complete sense, and I just can't fathom why we're not doing it. And sometimes we don't even get to hear the referee's audio, they just hide it. On controversial ones, they sometimes release the audio between the officials. But a good example of this would be that penalty in the Real Madrid versus Atletico game. We didn't even know about the tracking in the ball, and just assumed it was Madrid getting their way because they're corrupt, and that's fine, they may be a bit corrupt, but it didn't look like the case. Who knows with that? But this communication is key. If you made it this far into the video, I really appreciate that. Comment down below your thoughts on this video, and also whilst you're here, just click that follow button for me. It helps me out massively.